am I stupid? I can't make myself centered. Okay. All right. Hello. And I hope everyone can hear us. Oh, good. Okay, good. These comments are coming through. But just so you know, all it says is Facebook user. So I can't see exactly who is the one asking the questions. But if you do ask a question here in the comments of this live video, I will be able to see them. So all of you know me, but this is Jessica. Jessica and I worked together for about 6 years at a company called Millennium Health when I was in medical sales. And Jessica she's not going to say this about herself, but she was basically kind of like the glue that held that held all of the men together. I mean, could you think of another way to phrase that?
I was the circus master.
Yes, you were. So anybody who used to work with us there will understand. But now Jessica is a twin mom, and she's actually the owner of the Heart and Hustle company. She's a business coach for elite female entrepreneurs. And after working with her for so long, I can't think of anyone else better suited to be guiding women in their entrepreneurial journey and talking to us about creating a business plan. I want to say that this is embarrassing for me to admit, but the whole reason I wanted her on here was because I just wanted to hear all of this. So I hope that it's as helpful to all of you as it is undoubtedly going to be for me too. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Jessica, do you want to say anything else more about Heart and Hustle and your background?
Yeah, I'll just do a little introduction. So in my previous role, when I worked with Molly, I was in charge of the national sales and corporate strategy and worked with a mostly male-dominated C-suite team, which I actually loved. But once I became a twin mom and pursued this dream to start a coaching business for business and sales, I really niched down into female entrepreneurs. It's a space that I really enjoy working with because I am very analytical, strategic, and numbers driven. And it is a space where I meet a lot of creative entrepreneurs or women who are pursuing a passion for something that they really enjoy doing, but they aren't really sure how to scale. Oh, we got playback. Aren't sure how to scale and really build a thriving business. And their goals sometimes are a little small. They're fine with just making 75 or 100,000. And I help them scale from 6 figures to 7 figures and really build a business that's not only healthy, but one that they can then bring on a team and work with other, women and female entrepreneurs. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, Molly, for having me.
Awesome. Well, we can dive right in. So this is going to sound so silly, but what is a business plan? Why do you need a business plan?
Okay, so there are going to be different types of business plans for different stages within your business. And so I kind of asked Molly so I could get a feel of, where you guys are at in your entrepreneurship journey. And she said that most of you are either getting started or you're a little bit newer and have recently launched a business. So my best advice, if you are in this chapter or this season, is to sit down and create a vision. And I like to start with a 5-year, and you have to really stretch yourself here. So if right now you can only see yourself being a solopreneur, I want you to step out of that comfort zone and figure out what is the maximum potential of the business in 5 years. So what does your team look like? What does your office space look like? Who are your dream clients? And maybe you can kind of look to somebody that's already done this in your industry. So I know Molly throws out Amy Porterfield a lot. So if you are kind of in the beginning stages of building out your courses or your programs, kind of look to Amy. Amy's got a team. She's got, people supporting her. She's built a business. She's at a stage in her business where she can't do this alone. So what does your 5-year dream look like? And then I would reverse engineer it and figure out what needs to be done in the next year in order to really get this business to fruition. So where I would start is step 1, and I want to give you guys as much tangible advice. Yes, there are templates you can get. I know that through Pinterest, Etsy, there's some online. However, I haven't really found one that I really believe gives you all you need. I think a lot of them have a lot of fluff. And so if you guys just want to jot this stuff down, you could really create your own. And depending on the needs and the type of your business, it's really going to determine which sections need to be a little more robust than others. But I'll go over the base topics, which I would start to include. So the first one's going to be the overview. What is the business? What's the mission, vision, and values that you want to have while creating your empire? And so it's really important that your company has a mission and vision statement and has values. And here's why. Not only for yourself, but as you start to grow and expand, you are going to be able to want to pass this culture down on to anybody you hire. Even if it's just a virtual assistant, it's important to let them know, here's the vision and values of the company, here's what it's built off of, here's what we're looking to achieve. Not only do employees really appreciate that, but if everything comes back to that in the business and you can always realign with those vision and values, it's going to make it very easy for you to make business decisions moving forward. So start there. Next, you're going to go to your service offerings. So here's an area where I see a lot of female entrepreneurs struggle is their packaging and their pricing. You want to position yourself where you are not selling to one, but to many. So do you have a group program? Do you have an online, reoccurring revenue that you can set up, or a service offering or a product offering where people are just able to buy and it can go out to many? You also want to make sure that you're building out retainer packages rather than selling on an hourly rate. So getting really clear on what it is that your company is going to sell. And if you're product based, same thing. You want to really hone in on what's going to be your bread and butter. What are you going to sell that's going to get you your revenue projections quicker, and what pricing makes sense for those. I will say I see a lot of mistakes made in that people are offering way too much. So if you go to their website, or I land on your website and you are, I'm sorry about that noise, you're a coach and you're an author, and then you also plan events, and then you can also buy your online course, and you have so many different things that I'm not really sure how to work with you, if you're right for me, if I'm right for you. So getting really clear on 2 to 3 offerings, pricing them strategically, and that'll lead us into the next step, which is going to be your sales and marketing plan. Molly, yeah, do you have questions? I was going to say, slow me down or interject.
So, guys, I've got questions in real time coming in if you want to ask me some questions. But I wanted you to talk a little more about, because this group we have, I would say a majority are service-based, but we also have some product-based as well. So could you just be a little more specific when you say, when you're talking about service-based businesses, what you mean kind of by like retainer versus hourly, and then also how that translates to more of a product type business?
Yes. Okay. Do you mind if I just use you for an example? Because I'm not sure what some of the other businesses are.
No, you go right ahead.
Okay.
Hey, Chelsea. Chelsea's on.
Hey, okay. So if I was Molly and I was going to start doing social media management, a big mistake I could make is to tell people that I work on an hourly basis, so that you could hire me for $50 an hour and I would handle all your social media. Here's the problem with that. You are, one, it's a billing and logistical nightmare because you're having to track all the hours, and it opens up a line of communication for where someone's not really sure whether or not you really worked the 4 hours or did you only do 2 hours. What you're better off doing is saying, look, based off of the needs of your business and the following that you're wanting to gain and the amount of social media I'm going to have to post, I'm going to say that you're going to need my Savvy Social package. And in that package, I offer X, Y, and Z. It's $995 a month, but all of this is included. So then you take it a step further and you say, I only work on 3-month retainer minimum. So we can start the first one at 3 months. And then if you decide that this is working out really well and you want to renew, then you can go ahead and lock in your pricing for 6 to 12 months. And I offer a discounted rate because you're a client.
I don't do that. I should do that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So,
I do the packages, but not the retainers.
okay. So here's why that works really well for service-based entrepreneurs. If you are having to sell on an hourly basis, you don't know every single month what your guaranteed revenue is because you don't know if they're going to want 2 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. You don't know because they're constantly feeding you work on an hourly basis. But if I've signed 7 people into the Savvy Social package that I just made up, I know then going into the month of February, I'm guaranteed a revenue of just slightly under $7,000. And I know when packages are expiring, and I know every month based off of my retainers what my guaranteed revenue is going to be and how much I need to sell in order to hit my goal. So if my goal in February is to make $10,000, I know I need to start hustling to get either 3 more clients into that program, or I need to do a one-on-one higher level client or a couple smaller clients to go ahead and fill that $3,000 gap.
Awesome. And how would you, I think we have great pour decisions. Are you product based? We've got Evelyn and Cindy and Lynn and Chelsea. Mandy's on.
Great pour is Jen. Hey, Jen. She's one of my clients.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so if you are product based, a lot of people feel like I can't do this because I'm product based. Well, ladies, subscription boxes are at an all-time high, and this is why, because product-based companies know they've got to lock you in, they've got to get you on a subscription, they want you to be a repeat customer. So how can you take your product and either A, bundle it together to where you're selling more at once, B, get them on a product auto ship. So if you have a skincare line, maybe you do a membership package where each month they're getting a new skincare product shipped to them. And why is that important? They may not have bought your wrinkle cream because they're only 30 years old, but because they're on this membership package and they get the wrinkle cream one month, fall in love with it, when it runs out, they go to buy it because they loved it so much, yet they're still on this membership program trying all of your different products. So that's just one example. But there is a lot of different ways with products that you can bundle things together or get people on an auto ship program to where you are doing more than one sell. And this is where your sales and marketing plan comes into play, because your marketing spend will substantially go down when you are closing clients on a retainer base and you're closing, $3,000 contracts or $4,000 contracts. You're only having to close 20 to 25 of those a year to hit $100,000. If you're selling your services at $50 an hour, you got to do a hell of a lot of hourly work to get to $100,000. And you're constantly having to sell to your clients.
So this is, some might say slightly off topic, but I don't think it is. What do you say to the women, and I'm sure you see this a lot in your business, that mindset of like, I can't do 3 months worth and I'll lose all my clients. I'm sure you hear that a lot.
What do you mean they can't do 3 months worth of work?
I mean, not 3 months worth of work, but people will say, if I make it a 3 month minimum, then nobody will hire me, type that scarcity mindset that we tend to have.
Okay, well, first off, if you don't believe in yourself and your business and what you're offering, you're going to have a very hard time having a complete stranger or somebody else believe in it. So one, you got to get in the mindset that you are worth every damn penny that you're charging, because I guarantee you're underpriced. I would say 95% of the service-based female entrepreneurs I get on the phone with are underpriced. They're under market. So someone's already getting a great deal working with you. That's for starters. Step 2 is you will be surprised at how many people appreciate knowing up front, look, this is what it's going to cost me. This is what I'm getting. And here's the outcome. When you're working with someone on an hourly basis, that makes it very difficult. Is it going to take me 10 hours to get this done for you this month? And then I come back to you and I say, well, it actually took me 20, and you're blindsided. And so by them knowing this is the whole financial commitment, here's what's included, and here's the outcome that I'm able to give you, you paint a very clear picture.
That's beautiful. So Lynn has a question, and then I'll just throw in a little anecdote that I think another thing we don't think about is the result that we're getting our clients. If you're only working with them for 1 month, what kind of result are you getting versus if you work with them for 3, 6, 12 months? Think about the testimonials and the actual transformation that you can make in your clients' lives. So that's kind of something that I try to think about, because if I just help you with your Instagram for 1 month, I mean, you're going to see maybe some traction for sure, but you're not going to see that real transformation. Same if someone hopped on a 1-hour call with you, they're going to get a ton of value and a lot of actionable steps, but think about that compounding value if they work with you for 3, 6, 12 months. So I love that.
Yeah. And then you got to understand too, you need to take, and some of you may be newer to business, so you don't have the analytics yet, but what is your retention rate? So if you currently offer a 3-month program and your retention rate is 85% of those people then re-sign again for the next 3 months, maybe it's time that you switch your 3-month program to a 6-month program. So 2 months into your first program, you're not having to resell them to sell the next 3 months. So you got to think too of how often you're asking these people for money. A lot of people would rather just know up front, hey, look, it takes 6 months to get results, to see massive successful results working with me. So I do 6-month programs. Here's what it costs, and you can pay on a monthly basis.
Love that. Love that. Lynn Winter. Lynn's actually a productivity specialist. She's a full-time attorney and just launched a podcast today, by the way. Congratulations. And a mom, and she does all the things. So Lynn wants to know, how do you know how much to charge?
Well, that could be a whole nother. So I don't want to get
my light real quick.
I don't want to get too far off course with building out the business planner. But there's a couple different factors that go into pricing. It's the first thing I do with my clients is do a package and pricing audit to see where they're at. You need to do a market analysis to see where are others in your industry. I'll use myself as an example. There are business coaches that charge, $500 a month, and there are world-renowned business coaches that are hundreds of thousands of dollars to work with, and you need to be making 8 to 9 figures a year to work with them. So it's really figuring out, okay, what are my areas of expertise? What is the market that I'm working with? Because you want to make sure that you are actually working with a market that can afford you. Nobody in here should be selling to poor people because you are not going to scale your business. If you're an attorney and you're a productivity coach. Is that what you said? Productivity
Yes.
coach? I would look and see who else is in your space. What are they charging? A lot of it too is if you're selling locally, what are the demographics of your community? What are the economics? If you are somebody like myself who sells across the United States, then you're able to kind of take all of that into factor as well. But package and pricing, I can't say this enough. It's really going to set you within the marketplace of where you're going to be. So if you price yourself too low, that's the type of clients you're going to get. If you price yourself too high and you're not qualified, you're going to have a very difficult time getting business. So that's a huge critical part of your business. So one of the after service offerings you're really going to want to do, once you figure that out, complete market analysis. And I can't stress this enough. Yes, do it while you're creating your business plan, but this is something you should be doing on a quarterly basis. Going out, seeing what are others doing in your space, what financial or economic impacts that are happening in the world, what could that have on your business? I use the taxi Uber analysis all the time. The taxi companies were golden for a very long time. They were the only ones around. It was the only option. Well, clearly they got a little too cocky and confident, and nobody was doing any, trying to figure out what could we do differently. And Uber came along and like that wiped out the taxi industry. So you've got to be staying on top of the industry and the market.
Hashtags on Instagram are a good way to do that.
Yeah. And use them.
Yeah. All right. We had a question. I don't know why. I can't see who asked it. It just says Facebook user, but it says, not sure if you can answer this, but how do you know how much you're worth when doing a product review? Okay, so this is going to be more into influencer marketing, which is a little off topic, and we can talk about this. I can answer your question in the group. So I just wanted you to know I saw it. Okay, I'm taking notes too, and I'll make this available to you. But so you've got your overview, and then your service offerings, and then your complete market analysis.
Yes. So then you're going to want to go into your marketing and sales plan. So how are you going to market your business? How are you going to be prospecting? How are people going to find out about you? So this is one mistake too that I see a lot of female entrepreneurs make, and Molly can probably attest to this. For example, I was sitting down at a conference, and the girl next to me was an influencer, and she had almost 100,000 followers. And I asked her, how much revenue, and this was in November, how much revenue have you done this year based off of social media? And you guys, I'm not even joking, it was under $10,000. That same month, I had closed, I think around $17,000 off of Instagram in leads. And I have like 1,800 followers. Like, I don't have that many followers. I just go on, I show up every single day. I provide free business information, and I'm really passionate about helping female entrepreneurs scale their business. So in 1 month, with like 1% of the following that she had, I was able to, secure a healthy amount of business off of social media. But people think because, well, I have 5,000 social media followers, or I have 1,000 LinkedIn connections, everybody knows about my business. They don't. Nobody knows about your business. You've got to be talking about it, and you have to have a marketing plan in place. And that should include, what networking events are you attending? What conferences are you going to? Are you going to be doing paid advertisement? Who can you collaborate with to further grow your business? Once you have the marketing plan, then the sales plan. How are you going to sell this? Is it through your website? Is it in person? Are you doing discovery calls? Is it a click and purchase? Or is it a longer sales cycle? Are you going to be selling it? Are you going to have a sales rep? What does the entire sales cycle look like? What are the objections that you're going to get? Who's going to be buying from you? So all of that's really important to have in your business plan, and kind of do like best case scenario. I just got off a call where I was doing sales coaching with one of my clients' new employees. And she said, like, how long is the sales cycle? And I said, you never know. There's going to be people that buy from you like that. And there's going to be people that tell you no 15 times, and you got to just keep going back, because on the 16th time, they may say, I'm ready, let's do this. So really having the best case, worst case scenario built out into your business plan.
I just got PTSD from 6 years in medical sales, but you're so right.
I love a no. So
I know, I love it too. I'm like the one that I'll keep going back a million times. So for sure.
I will say, so it's when we originally paint a picture in our business plan, and if you're just starting out, it's like, okay, this is how it's going to go. No, it's not going to go that way. And so it's really important that the business plan is like an outline of what you're wanting and looking to achieve, but knowing that you're going to need to pivot. Things are going to change. And I'm going through this with one of my clients right now, what she thought she was wanting to offer and what her services and packages were. As she worked with clients doing that, she realized there's a need, based off of the feedback and what she was actually coaching them through, to pivot the business. So now we are restructuring her niche client. We're restructuring her packages and services and going after a different market. And that's great because she listened to the feedback.
Amazing.
Not get stuck in your ways. Listen to what people are telling you, what people are answering your questions on Instagram, what they're commenting, what they need, and build your business off of that, because that's what the market is asking you for.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions. It was my question, actually. It's like, how do you allow for pivots in your business when you're sitting here spending all this time on a business plan? I know it can be maybe a little disheartening to be like, oh, now we're going to change it all. But you're not really changing everything. You're just...
No. And I got to be honest with you guys, unless you're going out and you're raising massive capital and you're meeting with investors, and need to show them, like, look, here's the projections, here's exactly what the business is going to do, here's, and they're wanting to solidify and see everything, then you don't need this robust business plan in place. You should basically just have like this outline and have all this information in there and be willing to pivot every single day, based off of the needs of the market.
Awesome. Anybody have questions so far before we get to the rest?
And if I'm talking too much, tell me and I'll go through these on shorter blurbs. I
Yep.
won't cover as much.
Nope. Nope. So we've got our marketing and sales plan. So let's talk about what part of that marketing and sales plan is actually identifying your ideal client.
So you should really, that to me, identifying who your client is goes back to the overview of the business.
Okay.
So the mission and vision. So in your mission is, what is it? Is it to, help female entrepreneurs not be overwhelmed by social media? Or if you're an interior designer, is it to, help, uh, you know, women in their 30s that are wanting to build out their dream home achieve that on a budget, or whatever it may be. That's the vision of the business, that's your mission. And so your mission should really then decide, okay, who's the clientele for that mission. And then obviously once you identify who your dream client, and if you go to my website, you can download a dream client worksheet that'll really help you niche down for free. So if you're kind of stuck on that right now, go ahead and I'll write everything out, or Molly can send it out so you know where to find it. But I would start there, because you can't really build your packages, you can't really build your service offerings if you don't really know who your client is.
Exactly. Yeah. And I have one too. I make any of my one-on-one clients have to fill out a brand worksheet
Mhm.
before I start doing their Instagram, because if I don't know where you're trying to go, I don't know what to put on your Instagram. So yeah, I love that. All right. So overview, then your service offerings, and then your market analysis, and then your marketing and sales plan. And where does that take us?
So next I would go into operations. So how is this business going to operate? Are you a brick and mortar? Are you online? What systems do you need in place? What type of back end management do you need? Just overall, how is this business going to go from where it is today to that vision in 5 years, and what is it going to take to get it there? Operations and systems are huge to your business. It's if you are kind of operating like a hot mess, or you're just writing things down, or you don't have systems in place, it's one, going to be very hard to scale, but two, it's going to be really hard to onboard somebody. So if you're just starting your business, really make sure that everything has a process and that you're keeping SOPs and you're writing them down. So when you do decide, like, whoa, I'm getting a ton of contracts, I need an assistant, or I need an operations person, or a junior designer. Hey, here's how I do things. Here's the systems. Here's the passwords, and it'll help you onboard them much quicker. And it'll be easy for them to understand. If they come into it and it's a mess and they don't know how to, how to operate under how you've been operating the business, it's going to take a lot longer for them to be onboarded.
And a quick tip, actually, how I've been doing that, because I have two assistants who are freaking amazing. I actually use Loom. It's free. It's a free Google extension, and it screen records. So I don't even really write everything out. I just literally hop on Loom. It records my screen, and I talk them through like the process, and I just give them the video.
Yeah. And this business plan too is really great to pass off to anybody that you hire. So if you want to incorporate into a slide deck, I've had a couple clients do that and then pass it on to whoever's joining their team, obviously with an NDA in place. But you can pass it off in a slide deck and say, look, here's how the business has been built. Here's the business planner. Here's where we're looking to go, and share that with your team so you're all working towards the same goal.
Side note, we are actually going to be, if you got my email, you saw this already, but we're actually going to be having another one of these webinars on Thursday with Mara, my VA, and she's going to talk about how to find one, how to hire them, and what to delegate to them. So if any of those questions are coming up, just know that I figured they would, and we will address those on Thursday.
Yeah. So once you have your operations plan in place, then you need to dive into financials and funding. So if you're just starting out, how the hell are you going to fund this? Are you going to bootstrap it? Are you going to get investors? What is it going to cost? Really projecting, based off of those operational costs, sales, marketing. What do you need in order to successfully start this business? We actually have a post on our social media that's going out this afternoon that talks about you cannot be scared to invest into your business. If you're making money right now, stop hoarding it. You should be planning out now. How are you going to reinvest? How are you going to expand the business, whether it's personnel, systems, management, coaching, mentorships, programs, conferences? You've got to be putting money back into the business in order to really scale. So figuring out the financial piece.
Another sidebar, I thought of this as well, and I know this is going to be a question for y'all. So on the 15th, Shauna Game from the Millennial Money Podcast is actually also going to be in the group doing a webinar on where to invest in your business.
Good. Yeah, I don't know why, but I meet a lot of hoarders. They all just take this money and then they don't put anything back into the business. So it's a good tax write-off too. So
I know everybody says, I can't afford a virtual assistant. I'm like, you can't afford not to have one. I wouldn't have a blog. I wouldn't have an email list. None of that.
So then once you really figure out the financials, the funding, how you're going to do this, and even if you're on right now and you've been in business for 3 years, 5 years or whatever, and you've never written a business plan or it's time to revamp it, this piece is going to be really important because you already have the analytics, you already have the financial statements, you know what the company's been bringing in. Chances are you've plateaued. So the last year or 2 years, you're kind of bringing in right around the same. If you're looking to make a huge jump, if you're looking to go from 250 to 500 or 500 to $1 million, the investments are going to be what takes you there. So really figuring out what portion of your revenue you are willing to part ways with this year in order to get you there.
That's awesome.
So once you have all that done, I would really focus then on the team and outsourcing. So if you have just started your business in the last 2 months and you're like, holy hell, I'm not even making money, I'm in debt, the last thing I could think about is a team or outsourcing. No, plan now. What does your team look like? How soon can you get there? I had clients last year that started in my group coaching program for new entrepreneurs, and they were making, I had one girl who was making $1,000 in January. She had hardly any money to invest in the program, but knew she had to do something differently. And she ended November, December at close to $30,000 a month. And she's completely booked through May. And some of those months are bringing in $40,000 a month. And she has now 2 team members. And when I sat down with her in February and said, what does your team look like? She's like, I can't even pay myself. And I'm like, I get that. But a year from now, you're going to be able to pay for yourself and a team. And so really visualizing that and figuring out those steps is going to help get you there.
So I just want to clarify, though. Are you saying you should wait until you do have more revenue, in your opinion?
Yeah, if you only have $1,000 coming in and your overhead, her overhead was like $2,000 a month.
Oh, okay. She had overhead. Okay.
But when her and I sat down and said, okay, first step would bring on a VA. Okay, so how much money do you need to be making a month to pay your bills, to keep you alive, to keep the business afloat, and pay this VA? Okay, so let's go ahead and shoot for a deadline of April of bringing on the VA, because she's in a creative space where she can only do what she does. And so she needed somebody to take off the back end business, which opened up more hours for her billable rate, which is a couple $100 an hour. So it's planning out those steps. And then we knew after the VA, then it was, an admin assistant. And then after that, the admin assistant was really time to bring on a junior designer. And now she's hit all 3 of those in less than a year. But if she wouldn't have had that mindset of, okay, I need to be bringing in enough revenue by this step so I can bring on this person, which will free up my time to do this. Then I can make more money to afford this person. So it's this cycle that you got to get into in order to cover your costs.
It's awesome. Questions, guys, before we move on? This has been popular. We've got a lot of people watching. Okay, so team and outsourcing. And
so last area that I cover with my clients, which I think is the one thing right now that is going to set you apart from anybody else in your industry, is your client experience. So most markets are, pretty much every market is incredibly saturated right now. You are not the first to market on anything. Chances are there's somebody else that's already doing it, and the higher chances are that there's a million other people doing it. So your client experience is going to have to set you apart. So what does the onboarding process look like? So once they sign a contract with you, how are those steps? Are you giving them a welcome gift? Or when you close out, if you're a web designer and you finalize their website, are you sending them, some branding material that they didn't expect that really closes it out? And are you getting testimonials? Are they sharing that experience with other people? In a day and age where it's so quick to Yelp or Google review or Facebook review or go on social media and say that you worked with somebody that absolutely sucked or didn't take care of you, you can't afford to risk that in your business. So what is it going to look like if you have an unhappy customer? What does it look like if you get a bad review? I have a client who's at the top of her game who has incredible reviews, and she got a very nasty review a couple months ago. And so what do you do when that type of thing happens? So it's having all of that structure in place to where you don't go into this panic mode, and that your clients feel like the investment they made with you was worth 10 times more than what they wrote you a check for.
That's awesome. I love that. So you kind of touched, if no more questions are coming in, you've kind of touched on, well, first, I just want to make sure everybody knows that just because it's the new year does not mean like, I guess what I'm trying to say is you can start doing this anytime. Don't think like, oh, New Year's resolutions, I have to get more organized. This is anytime.
Yes. Running a business is not a New Year's resolution. Okay? But I will say, so there are, I have a very robust business planner that I give my clients, but I also created a free download. If you go to the website, it'll pop up right away. And it's called the 2020 Vision Planner. So it's not technically a business planner, but there's a lot of stuff in there that is going to really help you structure your business for 2020. And then you could take that and incorporate some of what we talked about today and kind of add on to it. So that would be, I would say, a great starting point, rather than paying on Etsy to download one of these. That's really just like, it's a lot of fluff. These are going to be the areas that you're going to really want to focus on if you're looking to scale.
Awesome. And you can just drop that link in the Facebook chat comments after we sign off.
Okay.
Because I don't know if it'll go through on our end if we do it this way. Okay, so you kind of briefly, I do have a question. With the client experience, should I be asking customers to leave a review? I make children's clothing, so not sure what to offer. Oh, of course.
Yes. So client experience, if you make children's clothing, and I'm just going to assume that they're ordering online and you're shipping this out, or maybe you do custom clothing, I'm huge on packaging. So don't be, the Amazon that just throws this stuff in a UPS box or a Postlanix box, and you want to have on brand tissue paper. And Jen's probably laughing, my client, on here because we just did all of this with her new brand. You want to have, your stickers that close the tissue paper. Maybe you buy actual shipping bags that, and I posted the other day, one of my clients is doing like this pink shipping bag with pineapples on it. It literally is costing, I think, 12 cents to have these bags and the tissue paper and all the brand. If you're not sending out thousands of orders a day, throw a handwritten card on there. Let them know this is coming from a mom or a small business and say, your reviews mean the world to me. If you have the opportunity, please drop it on Yelp or Facebook or wherever you want people to leave these reviews, or share a testimonial with me. I'm getting ready to go into launch for our group coaching program. You better believe I'm reaching out to all my clients and asking them for testimonials, not just because I know it could help me get more people into the group and I can work with more female entrepreneurs, but I need to know, like, it amazes me sometimes when I get feedback from my clients on what the things are that absolutely stood out to them in working with me. That was, the most amazing part. And for the longest time, I thought it was going to be the programs or the weekly call or the content in our client portal. But I can't tell you how many times I hear it was you being my sounding board. It was knowing that I had you on my team or that I could text you or call you. And so when I hear that, I know right away that every time I get a client that texts me and they're having a hard day or there's shit going on in their business, like, this response to them is going to be like their lifesaver today, their flotation device, because they count on this from me. And so it's really picking up on what people are telling you.
Yeah. And make it easy for clients to leave you a review. I mean, don't be afraid to send them a specific link. Nobody minds giving you a review. And sometimes you might need to even remind them. That doesn't, I mean, I know for me personally, my virtual assistant in Australia, I'm not working with her anymore because it just didn't make sense with the time zone thing, but I've loved her dearly. And I'm just remembering she asked me to write a review and I forgot. But if she had reminded me, it wouldn't have bothered me in the slightest. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah.
This is awesome. So you've briefly touched on your group coaching program, which I know is the Female Founders Club. Do you want to talk a little more about that?
Yes. So it is a coaching program that I started. How it came to fruition is I was attending a networking group in San Diego for newer female entrepreneurs. And I was constantly asked, like, I need to work with you. I have to work with you. But none of them had enough revenue coming in where I felt comfortable that one, that they were at a space where they could see, massive results in a short 3-month program. But two, there was no way I was going to have them take all of their earnings and write me a check. So I created a group coaching program. Jen, who's on the call right now, she is in the program, and it gives you access to me on a weekly basis. So we do group coaching calls where you not only get to see what other female entrepreneurs are asking, but you're able to get direct advice based off what you need at that moment in your business. We also have a client portal with over 50 trainings that are yours to keep. It's on-demand access. You can go through them at any time. We have a Facebook group for all of the clients to network with one another. It's a great community support. I felt that a lot of new female entrepreneurs, that's the one thing they're lacking, is they feel like they're alone. And so I wanted to build a space and a community where they network with each other, they use each other for businesses, they support each other, buy from each other, network with one another. And then every month I bring on an expert guest speaker to cover different topics. So this month we have someone coming on to talk all about influencer marketing and how to use affiliate programs in your business. Next month we have somebody coming on talking about public speaking. So if that's a route you want to take as a business owner, or you're just scared to get up and pitch. And so the results have been absolutely incredible. I'll say it. I wasn't really sure when I started the program a year ago. Could people this early on in their business see the trajectory in a group coaching program? Because so many of them have a bad reputation, and you absolutely can. We have 4 women in the group that hit multiple 6 figures this year. So I am going to offer it to anyone in Molly's group for 10% off of the price. Or if you are kind of further along the road and you are more interested in doing one-on-one coaching in our Elite Entrepreneurship Program, I will also give you 10% off that package price as well. If you're not ready to commit to a coaching program, even though all of you should be, I think people wait way too long to get a coach, then please head over to the website and at least download all the freebies, because that will give you a really great starting point to build the business.
Well, just so y'all know, Jessica is a business coach, and she has a business coach.
Yes. And I'll just throw it out there, you guys. I spent over $40,000 last year in my own personal coaching, and this year I plan on spending more. I was at a conference recently with a 7-figure popular, well, I'll just throw it out there because she said it at a conference, but like Shailene Johnson, if any of you know her, she said that last year she spent over $350,000 on a business coach, and it is the one thing she will not give up, and she's probably going to spend close to $500,000 in the coming year, because you can't see what you don't see. And you don't know what you don't know. And having somebody that's at the 10,000 foot level looking down on your business and guiding you along the way and telling you you're worth more, you're priced too low, and here's how you're going to do it, and having that strategic plan, the ROI is incredibly high.
Yeah, and based on like your pricing for female founders versus, like mastermind type pricing, I mean, it's insane, especially with Jessica being generous and giving this group a 10% discount is huge.
So I wanted to make it financially affordable, and I'm able to do that because it is a group program and it's all of you collectively getting on the phone once a week. But I know the impact it can have on a business and how lonely entrepreneurship can be in the beginning. And I see so many women spend 2 years trying all the things that everybody else in their industry is doing that look successful, yet are barely getting by. And I truly believe every female business owner should be clearing six figures.
So, with that being said, Jessica, where can we find you? What's the best place to connect with you?
So the website is www.heartandhustleco.com, and it's spelled out the and A and D. You can find me. Molly's been tagging me on Instagram, so my social media handle is there. And that's pretty much it. I'm not really active on Facebook.
I know.
Instagram or
this group is the reason I get on Facebook. But yeah, I will. I'll go through and I've actually got to run and pick up MJ, but I'll have Jessica drop in the link to the comments to her vision planner that she talked about. And that can get you also on her email list. She sends out a lot of awesome emails. And I really encourage you all to really look at this Female Founders Program because it's pretty amazing. So
yeah, and if it's something that you guys are interested in, but you want to learn more, you want to talk to me personally and figure out if this is the right fit for you, if you go to that coaching page and there's a join the wait list, fill that out in the comment section. Tell me that you were in this group. And I will get on the phone with you this week before we go to launch next week. So that way you can secure your seat and learn more about it if it's something that you want to do.
So Jessica, how many people are in the group?
So right now we have 10 women in the group. I keep it small for a reason. Some of them are graduating up to working with me one-on-one. And so we are going to take a total of 7 new seats.
Awesome. That's amazing. All right. Well, if y'all have any other questions or if you're watching this after the broadcast is over, Jessica is in our Facebook group. So just make sure to tag her with any questions. And this has been seriously so helpful.
Good. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you, Molly, for having me. And I look forward to connecting with you guys.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.